Guys, let's take a look at the brand new Nexus 6P.
Okay, I found something on the web for when did the Nexus 6P come out.
On September 29th, Google announced the Nexus 6P, and thanks to a friend, I am going to be looking at one today. So let's dive right into it. So unlike the Nexus 5, the Nexus 6P is entirely made out of aluminum except for the glass strip at the top by the camera and a little plastic bit at the bottom where the antenna go. On the edges of the phone you can see we have these chamfered edges, much like you would find on an iPhone 5 and 5S, and I think they look really good, but the problem that you tend to get with chamfered edges is that they are really easy to scratch. Those things will scratch as soon as they come into contact with almost anything. One other thing that sets this phone apart from the rest of the Android and iPhone phones that you get out there is the fingerprint reader is on the back of the phone. Some people think that it's kind of weird. I'm taking some time trying to get used to it, but it actually kind of makes sense. I mean, if your phone is face down, it's really easy to just put your finger on it and then it's already unlocked by the time you pick your phone up. The only problem that I would find with it is that if the phone were screen up on a table, you'd have to pick up the phone. You do have to pick it up in order to activate the fingerprint reader. So as well as placing the fingerprint reader on the back, Google has moved the speakers to the front. So you can see these two lines on the top and bottom, these are actually the speakers. So if we play a video, but I must say that the speakers are very good. Having them on the front of the display means that when the phone is facing you, as it tends to be when you're watching a video, you really are getting a more immersive experience with the sound, especially when compared to an iPhone 6S where the speakers are down here on the bottom, and there is only one of them, so that alone, the fact that there are two speakers alone makes it better than an iPhone 6S. But having them on the front of the screen, I think really helps. So unlike on an iPhone 6S or one of the bendy Galaxy phones, this screen on the 6P is actually a flat display, which looks very nice and is probably a little bit better as far as having the phone not crack when you drop it. But it can be a little annoying when you are trying to do a swiping gesture because you kind of get that ridge rather than having a nice smooth surface. Whoa, I'm playing videos like crazy here. So if we look on the side of the phone, you'll notice placement of buttons is very similar to most Android phones. You have the lock button, which in this particular instance is textured so that you can tell what it is. And immediately below that is the volume rocker. Now the problem that I have with this volume rocker is that it is all one button, which means that you tend to click up and down at the same time, and then the volume just kind of starts spazzing out, like it just starts going all, oh, it turned off. What are you doing? Oh my god. One down. No, it's going up. When we compare it to an iPhone 6S, they both have raised cameras, but the difference with the 6P versus the 6S is that the 6P has this whole black strip on the back that's raised, which means if you put the phone on a level surface like this, you'll notice it's stable. It doesn't go rocking around, whereas if you put the 6S down, you can tap out Morse code with the unevenness. Oh dear. So in that respect, I do prefer the way the 6P has approached that. So let's compare the dimensions to the 6S. So if we set them out side by side, as you can see, they're really close in size. The 6P actually has a slightly larger screen. It's a 5.7-inch AMOLED compared to the 5.5-inch LCD on the 6S. The other thing is, on the back of this phone, we actually have 8 antenna lines. There are 2 on each of the 4 corners. So there are a lot of antenna bands, but I like what they've done, which is keep them on the side here, So they look really minimalistic. They don't cover the back of the phone like they do on the iPhone. And they're certainly a lot smaller. Alright, so that's really all that we have for this hands-on review of the 6P. Tomorrow I will be... Oh, wait, hold on, I looked down when I was saying that. So that's all I have for today for this hands-on review of the 6P. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to put a full review of the phone, so make sure to check back for that.